Over the last 4 years, the Obama administration worked hard at rolling back the signature weapon of the 20th century, the nuclear weapon. And for that effort, the president won a Nobel Peace Prize. But there's an irony. Over those same 4 years, the U.S. led the way in the introduction and use of what are probably going to be the signature weapons of the 21st century. These are weapons like drones, robotic systems, but also cyber warfare. What we're talking about is a new generation of weaponry where you're moving the point of human decision from the action. You're moving it both geographically, but also increasingly chronologically. So to pull back on this, drones, they seem like science fiction just 10 years ago, and now we've used them. We've got over 8,000 in the air in the U.S. military inventory. If you're talking about ground robotics, we went from 0 to 12,000, and they're used operationally both in Afghanistan by the military, but also in these series of not so covert shadow wars. That there have been a number of leaks by government officials and a couple veiled references to, but the president hasn't yet talked about it in a major public address. At the same time, on the cyber warfare side, you had the release of Stuxnet, which was a game changer. It was a very effective technology, a piece of specially designed malware that was able to sabotage Iranian nuclear research without killing anyone. A great new use of a weaponry in some ways if you think about it ethically, but also as one of the folks at Brookings who was the first to discover this out in the wild described, it basically opened up Pandora's box. The U.S. is at a unique moment in time with these technologies. We are the ones that have operationally used them. Now, we're leading the way, but there's a number of others that are following. So if you're looking at military robotics, there's at least 76 other countries by last count that have military robotics programs. If you're talking about cyber warfare, well, you're over 100. But we're the ones that are using them in places like Afghanistan, or in the covert strikes in places like Pakistan or Yemen or the like. So there's this moment in time where we're operating, it's sort of the parallel would be with a nuclear bomb. One of the challenges is because of our reluctance to speak about it, and a lot of this has been driven by the covert nature of the operations, we face a risk as the others follow us that they will claim justification but maybe not use them in the same way. Our memo suggests that the president should give a major speech, lay out an Obama doctrine on these new weapons. And there are certainly counter-arguments against it. They'd probably turn on two issues. One would be the argument of why tie our hands right now while we're ahead, why we don't need to do that. And the second argument would be why spend your political capital on this issue? There's a number of other issues out there. I think those arguments don't hold a lot of water. The reality is that we're seeing several things play out. One is that while we are acting but not talking, others are filling that vacuum. And in that filling of the vacuum, it's going to create pressures that limit what we can do. So you're seeing everything from international organizations starting to launch war crimes investigations. We're seeing discussions of treaties being developed without us. And even if they're without us, they'll still impinge on what we can do. We're seeing controversy strike the programs both internationally, which might limit the places that we can operate, but certainly harms our soft power, but also at home. We're seeing increasing pressure on the congressional side. We're seeing increasing public interest. We're seeing increasing pressure maybe even within the courts. By speaking out now, we not only set the terms of the debate, but we also help shape the norms that will ultimately guide where this goes. In two sentences, it's that. Plus, this is the kind of effort that presidents win maybe another Nobel Peace Prize for.